Hey, Utah Mammoth fans, Tusks up, and welcome into another episode of Utah Mammoth Daily. So today I'm going to be venting a little bit. I haven't reached my limit yet. I'm not going to say burn it all down. But the endless positivity coming from the main broadcast and like the team in general is getting on my nerves a little bit. So I'm going to be on the other side of things for this show. After that game against Calgary, I need to let some things out. So first, we're wasting great performances from our goalies. Vitek Vanacek is a prime example. He had a stellar game against the Flames. After that first goal went in like 19 seconds, I don't know, the fastest goal that Utah has ever allowed in its history. I know we're only like a year and a half old, but still, fastest goal. He was stellar throughout the rest of the game. And what did the rest of the team do with it? Absolutely diddly. Nothing. And they outshot, they outhit, they were solid on faceoffs, blah, blah, blah. But the puck never went in the net. And I'm going to be calling out a couple of guys here in this next segment. But just overall, I get it. It was the second night of a back-to-back. You're tired. The season's grueling. But they're not the only team that faces that sort of stuff. Other teams are doing it. Other teams are doing it very well. And so going into the season, when you say it's playoffs or bust, you've got to bust your rear end to get things done. And they're just not doing it. Not on a nightly basis, that is. Yeah, that game against the Ducks, fantastic. That is like the perfect game from the Utah Mammoth. That is what they should aspire to be every night. And then the game against the Canucks was a little bit more grinded out. They were outperformed that night, but they still got the win. And then against the Flames, they just may as well have not showed up. Vitek Vanacek felt like the only guy that was really there to play. Even Liam O'Brien tried to get the team going with that fight, and it just didn't work. So overall, I'm just venting today. So keep that in mind as you listen through, but it's a venting episode. There's not going to be too much coherent, like, yeah, this is realistic. It's just something I need to get off my chest. The teapot is steaming and boiling and screaming a little bit, so I need let a little bit out. So there needs to be some change. This has been the common theme throughout the last couple of weeks of this show is there needs to be change somewhere. The Daniil Boot call-up and the Dmitry Simashev's demotion and Brandon Tanev being benched the last couple of games, Barrett Hayton getting benched, helped a little bit. It galvanized them against the Ducks. But Logan Cooley going down makes it's a crater, like a hole in this team where that line slows way down when anybody else is playing center. And that's just not the game that they're good at, being Dylan Gunther, Daniil Boot, whoever is on the other side. And so it's a problem all the way around. Like I'm not saying it needs to be, you need to change things up because of Dylan Gunther. Like Dylan Gunther needs to change too. But without Logan Cooley, it felt like the team was slow, lethargic, and that could be ascribed to the second night of a back-to-back. Flying in from Vancouver into Calgary. Nobody ever wants to do that. Sorry, Calgary. And so maybe that's it. But Hayton, sorry, man, you got to go. It's the last year of his contract. I've said I like his game, and I do. I like his attitude toward the game. He's willing to do anything that the coaches ask of him. He's going to do it. He's not going to complain publicly about it. It's just, for a team that has playoff aspirations, they need production from everywhere, and Barrett Hayton just doesn't have production. If we look back into like his career stats, 58 goals, 77 assists, 135 total points. When you look at other guys just in his own draft class, Quinn Hughes, who was picked behind him, has 431 points. Even Jesperi Finnish name, so this is going to be pronounced incorrectly, but Jesperi Kotkaniemi, maybe, I hope, with Montreal has more than him at 199. Yeah, and I'm not even counting the top two picks of Rasmus Dahlin and Andrei Svechnikov. Or even Brady Tkachuk in front of him. And Brady Tkachuk has missed more time. and hasn't played as much as Barrett Hayton has. And the situations aren't necessarily better for these other guys. So you got to just say it was a bust of the old regime. Shake hands, part ways. Trade him out. Go trade him out to a tanking team that wants an expiring contract and get somebody else in. Now, next thing, Nick Schmaltz. Same thing. That pass from Clayton Keller should have been a goal. That was a saucer pass across the center of the ice, straight onto Nick Schmaltz's stick against the Flames, and Nick Schmaltz just doesn't do anything with it. Like, it would have been better if he just missed the shot. Like, he just whiffed on the puck. Because then you can at least reset and try something else. But he has fallen off a cliff, and it's just kind of painful to watch Clayton Keller's talent be wasted like that. Getting J.J. Peterka on that line, awesome. J.J. Peterka, Clayton Keller, absolutely stellar. They need a better center. Utah does not have a 1C or anything right now. Logan Cooley, it will develop into a 1C, but he's still too young. And now he's injured. Hopefully it's not serious, but man, those two on the same knee or leg, man. But that's beside the point here. Nick Schmaltz just isn't it. He's not it. And so he needs to go to another expiring contract, send him off to a tanking team. They get that off the books for this next offseason. Utah brings in somebody good. I have floated the idea of a Quinn Hughes trade. I love the idea of this trade. But with the defensive lineup that Utah has, who do you pair him up with? Do you pair him up with John Marino? I'm not as sold on John Marino as other people. Do you pair him up with Sergachev? I don't think so. That would make Sergachev, that would hurt his feelings probably, and he would not perform well. So what happens there? Do you do that trade? Nazem Kadri is having a career start or a career best start to any season, but he still has a couple of years on that contract, and he's on the wrong side of 35, which is rough for me personally to say because I'm 35. But that's another thing. That's another guy that's on the trade block. Do you go for it with Jordan Kyrou? They're within the same division, so there is a division tax on that, so you have to pay a little bit more. I don't know. But with these two guys, nothing there. And then Blaine Forsythe is reportedly the power play coach. In any other profession, even in sports, when your team or your whatever performs as poorly as Utah's power play has, you get the axe. I don't understand why this guy still has his job. The power play is the worst in the NHL. Absolute worst. And it's not getting any better. Yeah, Utah got a power play goal against the Ducks. Great. When they got that goal, the Ducks were already down like 5-0 at that point, 4-0. So who cares? And it's terrible to watch. It's like, why even get a penalty? And that's kind of how they played against the Flames. Like, it's not even worth it getting a penalty because you know you're not going to score. You're better off going 5-on-5. Or you could go to the refs and say, hey, can we do this 4-on-4 instead? That's kind of where we're at with the power play. And then the power play 1 unit needs to change. Sergachev needs to get off that power play unit. He's not it. And then everybody just kind of stands around and just waits. And nothing happens. It's really frustrating to watch. So that's venting there. Let's move this right along to the teams all talk at this point. We need to do better. We need to execute more. We need to be more consistent. Then do it. Stop talking about it. Go out and do it. Be consistent. Do the little things. Win the board battles. Get into the corner. Be physical. Outside of Jack McBain, Liam O'Brien, Brandon Tanev, nobody's really all that physical. Be more physical. That's really where I'm at here. I'm sick of hearing the talk from Andre Tourigny and then the captains and then guys like Nate Schmidt. They're all saying the right things. Go do it. That's what the best teams do. They don't talk about it. They just go and do it. So just do it. I mean, sign a deal with Nike, go and do it. That's where I'm at with it. I'm sick of the talk. I'm sick of everybody saying this is what we need to do. This is why we're not doing it. I don't care. Go do it. That's where I'm at. So that segment's really short, but there you have it. And then lastly, they are still somehow in the playoffs. As of me recording this before the Sunday games, Utah is at 31 points, 1 point above the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago does have 2 games in hand on Utah, so I guess Utah has a playoff spot. But if the goal internally was playoffs or bust, change needs to happen somewhere. And a call-up and a demotion isn't going to do it. As a creature of watching baseball my entire life, I am recently into hockey in a major way now, but call-ups and demotions don't do anything. Those are fringe guys on the most part, or rookies. Like, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't galvanize the veterans at all. So you've got to do something. Something. And you got to prove to the market and to the NHL as a whole that you're serious, that you're not okay with being a feel-good story or the new kids on the block. And it's like, oh, what are they going to be doing? Are you serious about winning? Or are you so protective of your core that you're just okay with the ceiling? That's what I feel like we're running into. We're not there yet, but this is me venting, and this is what I see on the horizon. Especially coming from rooting for the Utah Jazz. I've completely written off basketball in my life, but rooting for the Utah Jazz is seeing that young core and them protecting it so well, and then they hit a ceiling for a couple of years, and then they tried tweaking things around the outside, and it just didn't work. And then they blew it up. In the last few years, they've been the worst team in the NBA, not worth watching, not worth your time or money. Is that where we're headed with this young team? I hope not. So this is the venting episode. I hope it's what you've been looking for and waiting for from somebody who covers the Mammoth. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tusks up.